Happy Hanukkah, Liz.
Oh, happy Hanukkah, Brace.
I got you 8 presents.
Really?
Yeah, but unfortunately because of COVID, I can't give them to you.
What?
And they go bad, so I have to resell them.
What do you mean they go bad?
They go bad.
What are they, baked goods?
I mean, well, I can't tell you what the presents are.
Oh my god.
Spider eggs. I told you about that, right? When I was like 13, I thought I had this big zit on my cheek for so long, and I couldn't get it off, and like it wouldn't pop. And then one day, I'm in the mirror and I'm looking at it, and all of a sudden, just 50,000 little
Shut
spiders
up! You're
come
such
out
a liar.
of my
You're
face.
a liar.
It was crazy.
Boop.
Whoa! It's Hanukkah. You know what Liz just did? Liz went boop, and she put her palm in front of her nose and then extended
Yeah,
it
like
out.
Pinocchio, Brace.
Pinocchio-wits.
No.
Jeffrey Epstein. Jeffrey Epstein. Jeffrey Epstein. Jeffrey Epstein. Come in. Jeffrey Epstein.
You know what? I'm in a great mood.
I know. I feel fantastic.
I feel so good, and it's because. Well, wait. Hello. Hi, everyone.
Hey.
Welcome. This is TrueAnon. I'm Liz.
Hey, I'm Brace. We have young Chomsky with us.
Oh my god, what's that voice?
I don't know. What voice am I doing?
I don't know. What is that?
I'm like a falsetto. I call this falsetto guy.
That's
it's this
like
guy
a
I've been working
weird-
on.
You know, that's like it's like an HR voice.
Hey.
Yeah. Hey
That's
everyone, let's
super
do some
cool. You
team-
guys are doing
some
this.
team building. We'll do a team
Yeah.
building happy hour.
Hey, this is my friend Ibram Kendi. And we have a totally great Zoom session for you guys today. Are you super excited? Yeah, I actually have HR. People, you know, it's funny. You always hear people being like, this person's acting like HR. It's like, bitch, I've had HR, not about me, but in general, complaining that people, you know, act like they're working at HR. I have an HR at one job I've ever been at, and the lady existed solely to yell at me.
Yeah, that's
She was
like,
never nice.
yeah.
We got her to quit with the union stuff. She made her life so miserable, she quit. They hired like an outside firm. But yeah, no, I've always just worked for Greeks, and Greeks I don't believe have HR.
So the reason I opened the episode by saying I was in a great mood is for 2 reasons. 1, I'm in a great mood.
Mm-hmm.
And 2, because we just wrapped a fantastic interview with our guest today.
Oh yeah.
And I just had such a great time.
Me too. This was one of we do interviews like this sometimes before where it's just like I'm excited the entire time, and this is
It's like
definitely one of those.
freewheeling, man.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's
No rules.
how I like to do them.
Off-roading.
Well, we have, and I'm sure you have read the episode title or description. But if for those of you who don't or don't want to read, or can't even, we actually have with us today in the cyber studio one private PI, or Ed Opperman PI. I think you say PI afterward, like MD. So we have Mr. Ed Opperman PI with us here to discuss. Well, Liz, what are we talking about?
Oh, man. Well, we're talking Hunter Biden, but we go all over the place. We got Hunter Biden, we got Giuliani, we got OJ.
Jean-Benet Ramsey? Yeah, OJ.
And I gotta say, a bombshell about Miss Kellyanne Conway.
Mm-hmm. And also, of course, yes, yeah. The Kellyanne Conway stuff is wild. And of course, we have a special guest appearance by Dietl. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's come to this again. We are once again here, joined by Ed Opperman, PI, and of course, fellow podcaster, radio host. Ed, real quick, for those who missed the last episode, who are we dealing with? Who the hell is Ed Opperman?
Thank you for bringing me on the show. Let me tell you something, Brace and Liz. Ed Opperman is a fan of hot sauce. And if you go to silkcityhotsauce.com, you put in promo code Ed, you
Oh
get
my
15%
God.
off the hot sauce, and you get a free bottle of hot sauce.
Ed, how you doing? What's happening?
I'm doing good, guys. Thank you so much for having me back.
Oh,
I'm
it
so
is a
excited to
pleasure.
have you back. It's always a pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you.
So Ed, a few days ago, maybe 5 6 days ago, you hit me up and you said that you had some explosive news. There was some new developments in a case that I think both you and we have been talking about, the Hunter Biden case, but it's goes far beyond that. Could you kind of fill us in on what the hell you filled me on?
Yeah, I think it's one of the greatest stories out there. I really do. I think it's one of the funniest stories I've been involved in. And like all Hunter Biden stories, it starts with John Benet Ramsey, right?
Of course.
Okay.
A relative of Liz's, I believe.
Oh, really?
No.
Okay.
That would be crazy, actually. But I will say just really quick, because we do have some international listeners, we're going to have to go very slowly through this story. Can you explain really quickly who John Benet Ramsey is? And also for our Zoomer listeners who aren't aware.
Yeah, John Benet Ramsey was a little girl, about 5 years old. She was a beauty pageant contestant. And she was discovered dead on Christmas Eve in the middle of the night in Boulder, Colorado. Some people accused her parents of doing it. Some people accused an intruder of doing it. And it really took the tabloids by storm, and it's case has never been solved.
I think it was the brother.
Remember John Mark Karr?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. John
He's a
Mark
school
Karr,
teacher, right?
Right. He was a school teacher. And he was in Thailand, and he confessed to the murder of John Benet Ramsey. And they brought him back
what a
here.
combo.
Yeah, I know. They brought him back here to stand trial. So what happened with me was when I saw the name John Mark Karr, and this was way back in the early 2000s, and it wasn't back then you couldn't just search people's social media and find all their stuff right away.
Yeah.
But I was real good at it because I was doing all that email tracing work. Okay. I found on Usenet all these posts by John Mark Karr where he was trying to lure little girls, little teenage girls and preteen girls. He wanted to counsel them, give them Christian counseling, all this kind of stuff, right? Real perverted stuff, too. This guy's a real creep.
Oof. If you guys don't know who this is, by the way, Google image him or Google image search him.
Yes.
Really, just really freaky looking dude. Looks like exactly what you just described him doing.
Yeah. I mean, it was a reason he was arrested in Southeast Asia. There's a certain type of guy who gets arrested over there. He's a real Gary Glitter type.
Yeah.
Well, it's worse than that because the reason why he was over there is because he had charges of child pornography pending on him here in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
But the cops lost his laptop. They sold his laptop at a garage sale. So all the child pornography on the laptop. You got rid of it, right?
Well, that's very
God.
convenient, isn't it?
Yeah.
A lot of odd stuff with John Mark Karr, okay? But he's this guy, so I found all this information. I was busy with other things at the time, so I turned it over to Nancy Grace's producer, and they ran with it, okay? I had nothing to do with that. But I always kept my eye on John Mark Karr. He always struck me as a guy that I need to keep my eye on. Like Brace. I keep my eye on Brace.
Of course. For very different reasons. Want to make that clear.
Yeah. But there's a lot of guys in my life, former clients, former people who cause problems for my clients, and I keep an eye on them, okay? So John Mark Karr was a guy I kept my eye on, and I would just search him out every now and then. So one day, I'm searching him out, and I find this story about a girl who had to get a restraining order against him. The girl's name is Samantha Spiegel. She was 9 years old when John Mark Karr was an assistant teacher at her school in San Francisco, right? When she sees him on TV confessing to this murder, she contacts him out of the blue. They enter into a relationship together with each other.
What?
Okay? Well, she's an adult now. She was an adult. She was 19 at the time.
Okay,
You
wait.
seem like you have some questions about this.
Go ahead.
Wait, so this was her old school teacher.
Right.
And John Mark Karr, she sees him on TV confessing to the murder of Jean Benet Ramsey, and she's like, I gotta have it.
Yeah, pretty much. And remember, this is a story about Hunter Biden's laptop. Okay.
Oh yeah, no, we're gonna get to that. We gotta let it unfold.
Okay, so she enters into a relationship with him. Now she's like 19 years old, 18 years old, 19 years old. But the story is that she had to get a restraining order against him. Like everybody who comes into contact with John Mark Karr winds up getting a restraining order against this guy.
Yeah.
She gets a restraining order against him because his plan was he wanted to recruit her into kidnapping a bunch of little girls like JonBenet Ramsey and turning this into a cult where he would have all these little girl beauty pageant
Jesus
kids.
Doesn't sound
boy.
like yeah.
Okay.
Right.
I'll tell you what. I go to a PTA or parent-teacher meeting, and I see this Mark Karr guy there. It's over. I'm putting my kid into I would say private school, but they're not much better here in San Francisco.
Yeah.
We should say too that he didn't kill JonBenet Ramsey.
No, I don't think he had anything to do with killing JonBenet Ramsey, but this guy is up to some weird stuff.
Oh, he's a total sicko. I
Yeah.
just mean that, like, him confessing, it was, for people that just don't know the case, like, he confessed and then it came back and then they were like, wait, but you didn't do it. Like, it was very weird, that whole confession.
He's mixed up too with Richard Allen Davis too, the guy that killed Polly Klaas. There's a connection between these two behind the scenes that goes on. I get emails from all these people. It's crazy. Okay?
Wait, really?
Yeah. Yes. I have no idea what goes on over here.
Whoa. Poly class was a big thing for me when I was a kid, because growing up in the Bay Area. Anyway, sorry.
The girl, Samantha Spiegel, who was the 19-year-old that was in the relationship with Mark Karr, I track her down. I bring her onto my show as a guest. Okay. And in fact, it's in my Patreon, the Opperman Report Patreon. You can find it there. Okay. We're talking about the whole situation, her relationship with Karr, all this kind of stuff like that. And at the end of the interview, she blurts out, and I had an affair with Dr. Keith Ablow. And Dr. Keith Ablow abused me. And I says, whoa, wait a minute. Hold on a second.
She shouts this out in the episode on air.
Yes. It wasn't live. We were recording. We had to record this
yeah.
because she was such a frantic guest. I had to make sure I grabbed her that moment and recorded with her.
I'm familiar with the type, Ed.
Anyway, you got one on the show now. Okay.
Okay, so gonna have to stop you again because
Okay.
we need to explain who Keith Ablow is.
Dr. Keith Ablow, okay, is like a celebrity Fox News contributor, psychiatrist guy. I first heard him on the Howard Stern show when he was giving therapy to Howard and Beth, okay, live on the air. And
Yeah, he's been
creeped me
around
out.
a long time.
He creeped me out at that point. Okay, so she's blurting out all this stuff about Dr. Keith Ablow, getting her into this S&M relationship and abusing her and all this kind of stuff like that. So I just said, well, I said, look, I'm going to bleep this out. I bleeped that part out, his name at least, okay?
Yeah.
But after the show, I says, hey, if this really happened, we got a lawsuit against Keith Ablow. I'm going to put you in touch with my attorney. Okay, when he hears this story, I'm going to fly her out here. I'm going to fly her down to Beverly Hills, put her on a plane. This is a great case. But she chickens out. She doesn't want to do it anymore. But in the meantime, I have all the material against Keith Ablow. I have all the text messages, the emails, the photographs. I got all the dirt on Ablow.
So she kept all this stuff.
Yes.
Ladies, listen. If you ever get into a relationship with any kind of celebrity doctor or psychologist or psychiatrist, any kind of these, or you know what, for that matter, just a regular celebrity, I'm not saying you have to do anything with it. I'm just saying might be a prudent and a good idea to perhaps keep some documentation of
I
Yes.
say any man, just keep your receipts, ladies.
Ladies, do not listen to Liz about that. Also, podcasters do not count as celebrities, and it is not cool to do that.
No, keep everything, then call me.
Yeah.
Do not call. If you have ever been in a relationship with a podcast, do not call Ed Opperman
I got the
and ask
team
him to
for
talk
this,
to his lawyer.
Yeah, I got the team for this. By the way, we'll get to that in a minute. So anyway, we got all this dirt on Ablow, right? But she's at the time, I thought she was a very nice woman. We've had her ups and downs, but the thing is, she's a damaged person, has a lot of problems. And she didn't want to go through the lawsuit, and then crazy things were happening with her. But finally, like a year or two later, she comes back. She's on board. We're going to do the lawsuit.
Uh-huh.
And wouldn't you know it, just as all this, when she finally agrees to do it, the lawyer is involved up to his neck with Stormy Daniels' deal. This is the lawyer in the Stormy Daniels case. So, and he even thought that one time I was sending him some screenshots of some stuff like that, and he thought I was trying to hack into his computer. Yeah.
Oh, Lord.
Well, the Mueller investigation, Stormy Daniels, the whole thing was insane.
Wait,
So this is all really recent.
Yeah.
Also, to be clear, is the lawyer Michael Avenatti?
No.
Okay,
The
okay.
lawyer is Keith Davidson, the first
Okay.
attorney, KMD Law, advertises on my show.
Oh, of course.
There you go, man. Yeah, Avenatti actually sued us, And look what
Shocker.
happened to him.
That's right. You come at the king,
yeah.
you best not miss.
Exactly.
You
You
know what I'm
will be behind bars.
Exactly.
So what exactly is going on with it? Like, so this must be pretty bad stuff you're sending to the lawyer. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
it's incriminating stuff.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you something else too. The girl, the victim in the case, actually hacked into his Facebook. She had all conversations he was having with other women too, as well. Okay,
Love it. I
And
love
it
a
was-
lady
it-
hacker.
it was brutal stuff. He was telling her to get tattoos and piercings, and you know, just very abusive. You know, like treating her like a pet and a toy. You know, like a
Yeah.
you know, like it was degrading stuff. It was degrading stuff too, as well.
Well, and it's what's worse too is that this girl came to him after having been in this strange relationship with a guy who, you know, engages in similar sort of psychological haranguing, and you know she's she's going to see a psychiatrist. She's trying to, like, you know, get some help, and then this guy, of course, turns right around and starts starts fucking her and starts doing all this crazy shit.
Bro, that's a perfect point because what do you call it? When he contacted her, she thought he was contacting her to help her with therapy and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And by the way, too, you know, he lost his license due to all this material that was on that I saw on those emails and those phones and stuff like that. His license was suspended. And the Psychological Board of Examiners said that he was an immediate and serious threat to the public.
Yeah, that was a big deal. He got kicked off of Fox News when all that came out, right?
Yep.
And then it was like it was a lot of women, right?
Well, it was at least 3 women moved to, I was in Massachusetts or something. I know they moved to whatever town he was in from across the country to be with him. I mean, these are 3 of his patients, and he just starts dosing them with ketamine all the time and having this crazy sex with them.
Yeah, the guy's no joke. The guy's no
Yeah.
joke. Immediate danger, like I said. And it was a great case, too, because not only could we go after him and his insurance, we could go after Fox News as well. All right?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
very much so.
Yeah, I
Interesting.
know.
Love
I
it.
know.
I love the way you think, Ed.
Oh, yeah. That's what I do for a living. That's what I do when I'm not podcasting. Okay, with the
I
great
gotta get
TrueAnon
into
crew.
that.
Okay?
Yeah.
Oh, man. Okay, so right around the same time, who goes to live with Dr. Keith Ablow? Hunter Biden.
Okay, hold the phone.
Yeah. Don't look at me. Don't look at me.
I
I'm
can't
just
even look at him. I'm about to cry.
Oh
I'm
my
listening.
god. Okay, so, but like, why? Why?
Well, I hear about this because the client, what's her name? Samantha Spiegel, her sister. Oh, by the way, you know, Samantha Spiegel and her sister, they have this fascinating life story too, where they were both given up for adoption. Their mother was a street prostitute that gave them both up for adoption, you know? So they both become friends of mine. We've all become pals, you know, off the air and on the air and stuff. And so she comes to me and says, oh, look at this article. Keith Ablow was mixed up in the second Hunter Biden laptop. There was a second laptop. Okay. All right. So I start reading these articles and I'm looking into this whole story. And I see how this Bradley Birkenfeld, who wrote the book Satan, Lucifer's Banker, okay? And he's having a book launch party. And who's at this book? I don't even think he can come to this country, by the way. I think he's got his own problems, okay? I just interviewed him. It's in my Patreon, too. Bradley Birkenfeld. He got $100 million, okay, payoff, as a whistleblower payoff, ratting out people with Swiss bank accounts. I kind of like the guy. He's a right-wing nut, but I like him.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's a few of them out there.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. So what do you call it? So he has this book party, right? And who's at the party? Bo Dietl, right? Bernie Kerik, and John Kirikawa, the CIA agent turned whistleblower.
Yeah.
I had him on my
What
show.
party was this?
It was a book launch party. Everyone has them.
Jeez. Yeah. I know. I've been to book launch parties, Ed. There's 22-year-old art student girls,
Yeah.
and then like their 45-year-old boyfriends. You don't have these guys at them. But
Yeah.
if Bo Dietl had been some of those, I believe me, they would have been a lot
Just
more
like the
fun.
Verso Loft.
Exactly. So,
All right.
there's this book party.
Full disclosure, I used to hang out with Bo Dietl every night at the dinner hour back in the 80s. Okay?
Incredible.
And he's actually a fun guy. He's a nice guy. Just like I said about Al Sharpton. Al Sharpton's a fun, nice guy too. But Bo Dietl's fun and nice in a different way.
Yes.
If you don't know who Bo Dietl is, go out and find the movie Bad Lieutenant.
Yeah. If you haven't seen Bad Lieutenant, you should not be listening to our podcast. You need to stop the podcast immediately and go watch Bad Lieutenant at least 5 times in one night. Otherwise, how could you be prepared for our podcast?
True.
I got a Bad Lieutenant story for you. You guys are gonna love it.
Oh, yeah. Well, let's save that for after. I would love
No,
that.
I can tell you right now. Okay, but it's
Okay.
the Harvey Keitel version. The Harvey Keitel version. The scene where he pulls that car over, there's the 2 girls in the car, and he starts masturbating on the door. Do you know who that girl is?
Who?
That scene was totally ad-libbed, and the girl in the car was his babysitter in real life. That was her first acting job she ever did. I think it was her last too.
That's how you get the scene, though. It's method. That's how you get the scene.
Also, if she's Harvey Keitel's babysitter, let me tell you, Harvey Keitel is okay. He's an actor, but he's also just a very famous male nude. I think I've seen Harvey Keitel's penis more often in my life than I've seen my own. I mean, the guy is just every single movie he's in. He's a real typecast guy. He just fucking takes it off every single time. Great actor. Also, I will say,
Amazing.
the second Bad Lieutenant, Protocol New Orleans, also great movie.
Very good. Very underrated.
Ed, have you not seen it?
No, I
Oh.
can't bring myself. I can't bring myself. to
No,
do
it's
it.
like a totally different thing, and it's actually really, really well
Yeah,
done.
it's got nothing to do with the first one, except he also pulls some people over. But it's really good.
Yeah.
Well, I
Gotta
like
say,
that scene.
too, big fan of Abel Ferrara. Just
Okay.
all films.
Okay, so we're at this. Oh, by the way, the other one at the party is Bernie Kerik, right? And you know the whole story with Bernie Kerik and that guy Lawrence Ray?
No. Give it to me.
Okay, where was this? The Lawrence Ray was the guy who was at the girls' dorm. What the Sarah Lawrence, I think it was. Yeah, Sarah Lawrence College. His daughter starts going to Sarah Lawrence College, right?
Oh,
He
yeah,
moved-
this guy?
Yes.
Wait, no, yeah, tell her. I know who you're talking about, but say it.
He moves into his daughter's dorm at Sarah Lawrence College, and he starts pimping out the girls and brainwashing them and stuff like that, right? So he paid for Bernie Kerik's wedding. He was the best man at Bernie Kerik's wedding.
Liz, do you remember this story?
Yeah, there was that huge article in like New York Magazine about that.
Right.
Precisely. Yeah.
It was
this
a
guy
really
is
disturbing story that really didn't make a lot of sense in terms, how something like that can happen on a college campus.
a little strange. Yes.
Yeah, right. He's in prison right now. He's in jail right now. At least.
Yeah.
So just think, while all this is going on with the laptop, Bernie Kerik is going after Lawrence Ray, getting him thrown in jail. Okay?
Jesus Christ.
I talked to Lawrence Ray. Okay? I tracked him down. You know who I tracked him down through?
Who?
A.J. Weberman.
Really?
Yes, the yippie garbologist.
Yeah. Oh, they're famous for digging through Bob Dylan's trash and all that kind of stuff.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh,
AJ
believe me, Ed, as an unlicensed amateur and disbarred private detective myself, garbology is the one criminal science that I'm an expert at. Believe me, I can figure out anything from anybody's garbage, whether they grind their beans, whether they just do it whole. I mean, believe me, it's underrated science.
Well, you know my connection to A.J. Weberman, right?
Well, I mean, I know you were hanging around smoking dope with the Yippies in the '60s, but yeah,
I know A.J. Weberman was like 16 years old. He used to sell what I used to buy from a guy named Fred Gotbetter, who used to buy from A.J. the hash and the pot and all the stuff we used to get. Okay, for years and years and years. A.J. wrote the book Coup d'Etat in America, which is the first book to expose the 3 tramps as being Watergate burglars.
Yeah.
But A.J. wrote a book about Rudy Giuliani, and this guy Lawrence Ray was a source because Rudy Giuliani and by the way, A.J.'s got all his books pulled off Amazon. They're really going after him. Go ahead.
Wait, Lawrence Ray was a source on a book about Giuliani?
Yes. And Lawrence Ray says all of this is exaggerated and made up, and it's because he was given information, he was ratting out Bernie Kerik. That's why he has all these problems. He's an intense guy.
Jesus
Okay.
Christ.
But we're
That
here
is-
to talk about Hunter Biden, guys.
Of
We're here
course,
to talk
of course.
Biden. This is just-
Gotta say, it's an incredible milieu.
Yeah.
Yes.
A
Yeah,
rogue.
Ed, you got to introduce me to these guys.
Okay.
I need to be going to these book parties sometime.
We
I mean,
gotta
it's-
get through COVID so we can get back to real New York now that
yeah,
crime's
so I
going
can,
up, city's
so
coming
I can,
back.
I can go out to dinner with Bo Dietl.
Well, you know, Bo has me blocked on Facebook because of my position on the police. You know, he's a right wing guy. So,
Oh, yeah.
Which I was kind of sad to find out that he blocked me.
Well,
You
he'll
know?
get over it.
I'll get over. I have to get over. He doesn't care.
Yeah,
Okay?
yeah, true, fair enough.
All right. So I read the story, okay, about this book party and how Bo Dietl and Birkenfeld, Bradley Birkenfeld, the Swiss banker guy, hop on a plane and go down. They get wind, okay, that Hunter Biden was staying over at Ablow, and that Ablow has his laptop and a hard drive and a phone, some other stuff. And I'm reading this article. I'm imagining that they're just knocking on Hunter Biden's, Keith Ablow's door, saying, "Hey, we want to buy, we want the laptop. Why don't you give it to us?" So I track down Birkenfeld and I invite him on the show. That show's in my Patreon too. Okay, Lucifer's. Okay.
What's it called? What's it called?
It's called Lucifer's Banker.
Okay,
Bradley
okay.
Birkenfeld. Okay, but in the description we talk about Hunter Biden's laptop. He comes on. And I'm, but this is the greatest book in the world, Bradley. I love your book. You're a hero. And, okay. But all I want to know about is the laptop. I wrote this guy just for the laptop. He comes on my show, exclusively tells the story. First, before he comes on the show, we're talking about Bo. I said, "Oh man, me and Bo used to hang out every night." Yeah, me and Bo went down there. We went after this laptop and stuff like that. When he comes on the show, I say Bo. He doesn't even listen. He doesn't even hear the name Bo. He won't say Bo nothing on the show. Okay, but he gives me the story. He goes, "Yeah, I heard from Keith Ablow's brother that Keith Ablow was in possession of Hunter Biden's laptop, and he wanted to monetize this laptop. He wanted $2 million for this laptop."
Well, hey, so you might laugh, but here's the thing about Ablow. Ablow has been forbidden to practice medicine. He has been fired from most of his jobs. I doubt anybody is buying his self-help books of a man who's been Me Too'd between fucking, in 50 different states. This guy, I mean, it's true. I think was the DEA or something raids his place and takes the laptop.
Yeah.
And so it's like, I'm sure that he realizes like he's sitting on a hot commodity. And then Hunter, I gotta say, if you are listening to this, which I assume you are, you really the point of the laptop is it's portable. So when you leave somewhere, you can take it with you. Do not leave your laptop places.
This man doesn't seem to have a good eye on his own belongings.
Exactly. Well, I'm assuming, so my assumption is that he's hanging out with Ablow because Ablow, okay, yes, he's a sex fiend, much like Hunter, but he's also, I mean, this guy is a one-man Studio 54. I mean, he gets busted at one point for prescribing like 9 of his employees different medication on the agreement that they share with him, which, be honest, I mean, it's smart, but I mean, he's giving these girls ketamine to treat the depression and all that stuff, which, I mean, I'll tell you what, from I don't think that works because most of the girls I know that have depression do have it because they do too much ketamine, but that's neither here nor there. I'm thinking like Hunter's just there to party, right?
Yeah, well, they're into the same stuff. The two guys are into the same exact stuff. Okay, we saw the foot.
we saw the foot.
We saw the Bryce, foot. Right? He comes to me and says, "Hey, you got a link to the video, right?" I says, "Yeah, man." So I just happened to see this the other day when I was looking through emails. And then we're going back, well, that's an adult foot, right?
Oh my God. I have to say too, Brace would not stop sending me that video.
I did. Oh, well, you got to blame Ed in the first place because that's the person who gave me the link to the videos.
I know.
I couldn't believe it when I saw it. I mean, that what a scene.
Wait, I have a question really quick.
Go ahead.
At a couple beats back, you mentioned that there's 2 laptops. Can you explain that?
That's what we're saying. Okay, the theory. Okay, this is what we're saying. Okay, the theory is that there's 2 laptops. Mm-hmm. That Hunter Biden had a water damaged laptop, and he brings it to this guy in Delaware, this Isaac Mack guy who's blind and a Trump supporter. And by the way, too, I have the raw audio of an impromptu press conference that he held with 4 reporters where he can't keep his story straight. I have that on my Patreon too.
I listened to that. Yeah. It is. I mean, the guy is totally all over the place.
It's shady as fuck. Okay. So the theory is that there was that laptop, and then there's this other laptop that was taken from Keith Ablow's house by the DEA took the laptop. But now we know what the real thing is. We know that Ablow he knew something was on this other laptop. Okay, he knew because he knew it was worth $2 million. He's trying to negotiate with, let's say, Bo, which who I think is there, and Mr. Birkenfeld, who has $100 million. $2 million is nothing to him. But the deal falls through. And what happens? 2 days later, the DEA comes knocking on the door. Give us the laptop, Mr. Ablow.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Get
So
it?
these guys, they go over there. They try to lowball the guy. He says no,
Right.
and then they fucking drop a dime on him. DEA comes.
I can
DEA
see-
too. That's
That's
what's
an old school move. I like
That's
that.
an old school move because I'm sure they were like, well, there's drugs in the house too. You know, it's Mr.
Yeah,
Ablow.
yeah.
Not even. No, I think that they got a judge to do, and this DA guys were their buddies and went in there and just only for the laptop. And then they gave it right to them. They gave it. They gave
Well,
it.
here's the thing: is we found out about this raid, about this laptop raid, months after it happened, and then it's just like a lot of this stuff. It reminds me of how we found about those DVDs in Epstein's safe. We hear about it in one story and disappears. We never hear about it again. So there's another laptop out there. We know there's another laptop. Is it connected to the? Nobody knows. The DEA has it.
Well, that's what's. So I have a question then, because
Yeah.
you know how the right wing guys. I mean, with the first laptop, with the the Giuliani,
Yeah.
laptop, the one that everyone knows. The right was saying that the reason why it was also scandalous is because that somewhere there was child pornography on the
Right.
laptop.
Bernie Kerik said that, and Giuliani said that, and I went on Twitter to Bernie Kerik's Twitter feed, and I said, well, if you guys, you and Bannon and who else are passing around this laptop, you're all in possession of child pornography, my
Right,
friend.
right, right.
2 days
Exactly.
later, they went and they dropped that laptop off to the Delaware police. But Birkenfeld's theory, which I got out of him, is that it's the same laptop. Is that the DEA, on behest of Bo and Birkenfeld, went in there, snatched up the laptop. They made a copy of it, gave the copy to Bo, Bernie Kerik, Giuliani. Then they take it over to the other guy. They take it. And by the way, too, Ablow would even know where Bo Biden was dropping off laptops to be fixed. They get it to him. He first brings it to the FBI. Nothing happens. But we know that Steve Bannon was talking about having his laptop months ago.
Yeah. I mean, Bannon was the guy, on Miles Guo's yacht taking pictures of a laptop screen, being like, it's not safe for me to just screenshot. Like, I got to take a picture of it. And so, like, Bannon, I mean, that's the confusing thing, is because it's always been like, well, do they actually physically have a laptop, or do they have a hard drive, or do they just have the documents from it? Like,
Or copy,
I don't
yeah.
understand, because how can they both have it? And, I mean, obviously, yeah, it's either a copy or something like that, but they sort of intimate that they actually have the laptop, which is funny because I thought the FBI had the laptop. And so the story gets, the story is total mush.
And the computer repair guy was saying, well, yeah, I made a copy of it. But none of that fits, man. But this fits. But they went to a judge. They got a warrant. Their own guys snatched up the laptop and then planted it over there at the computer repair place.
That is such a stupid. Why would they? Okay, these guys are such dumbos. Why would you take it to a computer repair place?
He
That
was
is
in on
just
it.
so weird.
He was in on it.
That's the impression I get. Because the
Oh,
guy,
the computer guy, you mean?
Yeah.
he
Oh
is
yeah,
such
no,
a-
I agree. I completely agree. What I mean is, like, even that going with that storyline, being like, okay, I know how we're gonna plant it. I just think it's
Yeah.
very
Because
stupid.
because they can't say, hey, we sent in the cops to Ablow's place to snatch up this laptop. We got a crooked judge, we got a crooked DEA agent.
Well,
that's
sure,
snatching-
yeah.
out there snatching up laptops. They got to get into the hands of civilians somehow. Some, cooperative dupe, Patsy.
Yeah. I mean, the magic laptop theory.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh God! I tell you, a couple of things going on too today, right now. There's a big investigation coming out about how the SDNY is investigating Trump. All that's based on Keith Davidson's case with Stormy Daniels. But this other thing too going on about this politician in Texas who started this whole case suing the other states to overturn the election.
Yeah.
It came out today that the day before he went to the White House to visit the president, he got visited by the FBI. Okay? Yeah, he got visited by the FBI. So there's a case against him, and then this is what motivated him to go after. So we have a secret police force out there.
Oh, yeah.
Doing hit jobs for the president.
I would say we've got several secret polices out there doing hit jobs for basically. I mean, that's the whole thing. That's how it's always been. Is there's these factions within the deep state or whatever, kind of going after. It's the CIA sometimes on one side, sometimes the FBI is on the other, sometimes on the same side. Trump seems to want the DIA to be its own kind of thing there. I mean, you saw that in sort of that like those rumors about. I mean, obviously bullshit about the what was it, Navy SEALs going after the CIA server farm in Germany. I mean, obviously that was fake because they're having a big firefight in one of the largest cities in Germany and nobody hears about it. It seems a little suspicious to me, but it's weird because it's almost like that there's this sort of like psychic undertone where everybody knows that there's these sort of feuding factions in the deep state, and so they kind of have to invent these stories to I don't know, they just kind of appear like that. But yeah, I mean, look at like Trump and Flynn and all these guys. They are definitely they got DHS and they got DIA. And you got CIA and maybe FBI and going around different sides too. I mean, it's a whole mess.
Well, we'll look at the invasion of Venezuela, where you had Trump's private security guys. One of Rudy Giuliani's clients was in on the thing. Keith Schiller's about making introductions. We're living in crazy times, my friends.
And it was such a goof, like the entire quote unquote operation.
I mean, yeah.
At one point, they said it was put down by angry fishermen.
Yeah.
It was. I mean, my God, that makes Bay of Pigs look like D-Day. It was just what a disaster. Well, Liz, what were you were about to hit us with something? What was it?
No, I'm just I'm curious, Ed, like your take on a couple things. One, do you think the Hunter stuff is going to be a mess for the Biden admin?
Yeah.
And two, do you think there is more stuff on that laptop that we have not seen?
Well, yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, I think both yes. Okay, if they appoint a special prosecutor to go after Joe Biden and his taxes and all kind of stuff like that, then senior Biden. By the way, they're all dirty as hell, man.
Oh yeah,
Biden,
absolutely.
Yeah.
There's no.
Liz and I.
The Bidens are like one of the dirtiest. Like, I mean, it's like routine, standard, like historic corruption. You know what I mean?
Me and Liz spent a very excited afternoon on the phone once researching Biden's brother and Hunter's ties to the Reverend Sun Ki Moon's son. I mean, these guys their fingerprints is in every nasty crevice and hole of the country.
I mean, Biden's entire career was bought and paid for by bankers, and it's well documented, and he's, you know what I mean? It's just, everyone knows this. I don't know why we pretend otherwise.
Now, the thing with is there child pornography on Hunter Biden's laptop? Mm-hmm. Okay, I think that there was, okay? And I think they're holding it back for blackmail, all right? One of the things we see on there is, which happens, okay? The really juicy stuff that doesn't usually make it into court. Because a lot of blackmail goes on. It's crazy. What do you call it? We know a couple of things here, okay? When senior Biden, Daddy Biden, comes here to Vegas with his granddaughter, he starts kissing her on the mouth on stage. Okay, did you guys see that?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a local story here, big, and at the time it wasn't nationwide. Now you could find the pictures if you Google Biden kissing granddaughter. But it was pretty local here at the time. Now, her younger sister was living with Hunter Biden. And there's an email from her mother saying, if Hunter Biden comes near my 14-year-old daughter, call the police.
Yeah. And there's a text message from Hunter too. I mean, and believe me, as somebody who is, thankfully in recovery, I can recognize a little bit of the old meth head in this. Hunter sends a strangely punctuated and very long text message, basically like saying they're saying I did this stuff to, I can't remember the girl's name, but I believe it's the same girl. It's like his niece, I think. Yeah. And that was a whole thing. So that was when the Bannon type sort of intimated that there was all this other stuff about Hunter Biden and a niece. But and at first I was like, okay, this is bullshit. They're trying to do Pizzagate again, except they can't do it that good this time. But then I look at the actual text messages, and these are not fake text messages. That it's an actual one that Hunter Biden sent, and it rings true with the drug dar in my brain, and it's it's out there. It's none of this stuff has been denied, and he's talking about how they're saying he's doing this stuff, but he's not really doing this stuff about this 14-year-old girl.
Well, there was a thing too. There was a couple in email thread where he was talking with his advisor, his custody advisor, whatever it was, and he says that they think I'm a bad influence on the kid because I'm smoking crack and FaceTiming naked in front of her. Okay, so yeah, I tell you, man, there's a wealth of real damage in there. You wonder how they get away with this, man.
Well, they got away with it because all the papers and the news media conspired not to talk about it at all.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it is true. It's like, I mean, we've talked about this so much in the podcast, but like, regardless of like what you think about the election or who you voted for or anything like that, like, I mean, literally, you cannot deny that the entire media apparatus just held Biden's hand through the entire thing. And like, I mean, they just treated the entire, I mean, they treated him and everything with kid gloves because that was, I mean, that's what they did,
Yeah.
you know? I don't think that's controversial. It shouldn't be controversial to
Just
point
like
that out.
2016, and neither side brought up Jeffrey Epstein.
Of
It's
course.
true.
Or the
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, that was incredible because it's
Until Julie
there's.
Brown, until Julie Brown, she landed on a spaceship from Mars, right, and released the story. Is that what happened?
We've never heard of it before.
Yeah,
I mean,
what
she
great
just
reporting, yeah.
exactly.
You know.
So I actually had a couple of questions about Giuliani. What do you think
Okay.
he's angling for right now? Because he seems all over the place, and you're a New Yorker. Well, I think you always kind of tend to be one,
Yeah.
right? You've got a sort of Giuliani, je ne sais quoi about you. I don't know why I said that word; it doesn't make sense.
I
There,
love
but
it.
some French word that sounds like Giuliani there. What is going on with him? What's your Giuliani sense?
Yeah, it's funny. We used to go to this little Italian restaurant where the maitre d' looked exactly like Giuliani. we used to call him Giuliani. I've met Giuliani a couple of times, Rudy Giuliani. Okay, I met him at the Doral with Bo and Raul Felder and Jackie Mason. Okay,
Oh,
when he was
okay.
before he was going to run for mayor. Giuliani's a fun guy. By the way, too,
I
but
can imagine.
Giuliani when he wasn't a fun guy, because I worked on those commission cases in the Pizza Connection trial where Giuliani was the prosecutor and I was working on the defense. So he remembered me years later, okay? And I believe he still remembers me now because I told you about that incident too where Roger Stone's people contacted me about dirt. They wanted me. Okay, let me tell you what happened real quick. Then we'll get to Giuliani. The day before, no, it was the day of the debate that was on the Intrepid Museum, okay?
Mm-hmm.
The Intrepid Museum is owned by a guy named Fisher, okay? Fisher House, or the Fisher Foundation. The guy who worked for the Fisher Foundation is Keith Schiller, okay? That's how I met Keith Schiller, through the Fisher Foundation. Now, who's sitting there? They remember they brought the TV cameras in, and Paula Jones is there, and Juanita Broderick, and all these.
Yeah. And Clinton has to walk past them and all that.
Yeah, and it's the whole thing.
I've interviewed them all. I know them all. So everybody in that room knows me one way or another. I don't know if they're talking about me or what.
Yeah.
I get a phone call from a guy, and he says, Ed, I'm just talking to Roger Stone. We need you to give us Kathy O'Brien's contact information. You know Kathy O'Brien?
No, who's Kathy O'Brien?
She's this crazy woman. I had her on the show too. She thinks she was mind controlled and was raped by Bob Hope and a bunch of people and Hillary Clinton. Okay, I thought she fell apart under questioning when she was on my show. Okay. By the way, I'm talking to Mamie Van Doren who has some stuff to say about Bob Hope. Okay, I'm working on getting her on the show. But anyway, they contact me and they says, Ed, we need you to get us Kathy O'Brien because listen to what he said. This is the guy that worked for Roger Stone. He says this the day after the Access Hollywood tape. He says because Kellyanne Conway is the one who's released that Access Hollywood tape because she's fucking CIA.
Whoa!
This is what Roger Stone's guy says to me he's at the debate. This is what they're talking about down there the day of the debate.
Incredible. So they're saying Kelly. I mean, that would make a degree of sense. I mean, her husband's certainly, if not a spook himself, but a little spooky. I mean, my God.
And what's the daughter? Little spooklet?
Yeah, well, perhaps. I mean, it's. I think Ed has interviewed enough children of spies to know that sometimes it does run in the family a little bit.
Kellyanne Conway's daughter blocked me on TikTok for no reason.
Ed, you have a TikTok?
Really?
No comment.
Oh my God. Wait. I want to pause on this with Kellyanne for a second. We need to talk about you just dropped a bomb. Wait, so you hear this is back in 2016, right?
Yeah.
So if that's true, I'm just like trying to put some stuff together then. What would it like? She was like active CIA, as they're saying, or
All I got from that is that one single line. But I said to the guy, I says, okay, listen, I gave him Kathy O'Brien's phone number and information like that. And I says, listen, why don't you show these guys all my shows that I've done on the Clintons about the Clinton Foundation and stuff? And I sent them 10 either YouTube clips or speaker clips, right? The next time, and Giuliani would recognize my name, okay? And they were all doing, I think they used some of my stuff for opposition research, because one time I heard a Trump speech and he pretty much went down all the titles of my show, like one after another. So Giuliani, okay, he's a nice guy. He drinks a lot. He's short. He used to do that big comb over thing, you know? He's had all kinds of women problems.
now he's got the dye. The hair dye. Just
I mean,
jumping
my
down.
God, I will say that thing with Borat was a setup, but he did get set up. I mean, you know, he fell for it.
Well, wait a second. You know the story about his comms director, right?
No, give it to me.
I did a show about this too. She's a right-wing political operative that got mixed up with all these characters when she was 16 years old. She's only like 19 now, and she's working for Giuliani as his
that's
public
right.
direction. You heard the story, right? And there's pictures of her in a bikini on the boat drinking wine. You know what's going on with this guy, you know?
I mean, you know, he's I think he's one of those guys who's like, I'm getting older, you know, I might as well just, I mean, he's living kind of like, it's like how Mick Jagger still tours and stuff. Like Giuliani's still in it for the love of the game and for the girls. Although I think that's actually giving Jagger a little too much credit in this day and age. But like, it's I mean, yeah, he just seems so all over the place. Like he can't, I mean, why Trump would pick this guy is just beyond me. I mean, he seems totally all over the place.
He's certainly not the mayor of America anymore.
No.
But he must have some serious blackmail dirt on a bunch of people.
Yeah.
I mean, if you were the mayor of I mean, come on. Like,
Yeah.
you absolutely, you know he's got mad shit on everyone. I mean, how did he, getting that job in the first place, you need to have a lot of shit on people.
I got a great Giuliani story. Want to hear this one?
Absolutely.
Okay. Leroy Nicky Barnes, okay, the heroin kingpin of Manhattan. Leroy Nicky Barnes, right? Leroy Nicky Barnes was arrested because my ex-partner, Bobby Harris, right, his father pulled him over, and Leroy Nicky Barnes tried to bribe him, right? They tried to give him a bribe, right? So
How much?
Okay, I was just trying to think because it was a lot of money.
Yeah.
And some of the money. They kept some of the money. Okay, but they still they charge him with the bribery.
Yeah.
So Leroy Nicky Barnes is sitting in prison. He's sitting in jail. No, he was sitting in prison. He was sitting in prison. And his ex-girlfriend, his ex-wife was out there sleeping with his enemies, right? So he sent some guys over to the club to kill the enemies. But instead, they sit down and they drink and they eat with the wife and the enemy. So he gets on the phone with SDNY, and there's a recording of this that you can listen to. Everybody knows the story, by the way. There's a recording of this that you can listen to on YouTube. It's not that hard to find. And he calls up Rudy Giuliani's detectives, prosecutors, agents, right? And he says, listen, the only reason I want to come and cooperate with you guys is because, my guys out here, they're supposed to be doing things for me, but they're doing things against me. So that's my only motivation.
Revenge.
Right. About a week after that, 2 white guys walk into the club and shoot his enemies. Whoa, look at Liz.
Yeah.
Now that's a Giuliani story for you.
Yeah.
Wow, jeez. I mean, that's the thing. It's like, if you're mayor of New York, you got to be, I mean, that's why you got to be a little bit.
Oh,
I have questions.
You got to be a
about-
son of a bitch.
Yeah. So wait, okay. This is a bit of a pivot, but do you is stuff still run like that in New York, or is it kind of moving away from that? Because De Blasio is like not that guy.
I think stuff is run like that everywhere, man. I know it isn't. I'm more in tune with what goes on in Hollywood and California and stuff like that. And there's all blackmail going on, all kinds of skullduggery.
What about Garcetti? He's mayor right now. The LA guy. I mean, he always just seems like such an operator to me.
Oh yeah, I'm waiting for Newsom to appoint him to something.
Oh, absolutely. Well, because
he's
I
like
mean,
a careerist.
But also think of how much stuff must be out there on Newsom, right? I mean, my God,
But how has it not come out yet?
Who was the police chief during Rodney King?
I don't know.
Was Garcetti's dad?
Yeah,
No?
right.
His dad was DA.
Okay, well, forget. I'm not going to remember.
Attorney General.
But look it up. Whoever was the the police commissioner of LA during Rodney King was CIA. He was working for the CIA
Yeah.
at the same
Daryl
time.
Gates.
Daryl Gates. There you go, my friend.
That's
Makes
right,
sense to
Daryl
me.
Gates. I remember that name.
I mean, I think people think that, like, you know, like San Francisco, for instance, is run in, I think, much the same way that like daily Chicago was run, for instance. I mean, it is really like, it is such a machine here. And it's so like, they're all tied up with, I mean, there's a few different criminal enterprises they're all tied up with, but it really kind of went under the radar that like our head of the Department of Public Works, I mean, the people who were supposed to be sweeping the sidewalks, you know, clearing the trash, all this stuff. This guy, they were basically running a criminal enterprise. This guy goes under. Our mayor had dated him 20 years ago, and the rumor was she was still stupping him. And the FBI indictment is talking about girlfriend number 1 and girlfriend number 2. Now, everybody knows girlfriend number 1 is the mayor of San Francisco, Mademoiselle London Breed. But nobody can do anything about it. You know, and so many of her friends went under in this FBI investigation, and the FBI is still poking their noses around. And that's why I don't think a lot of people thought she might be able to get, you know, kind of bumped up by Biden, or, you know, Biden would appoint somebody from California, and then London Breed would take her place, maybe Kamala Harris's seat or something like that. But I don't think it's going to happen, because I think that they know there's a little too much stuff out on her. There's blackmail out on her.
Yeah.
And she also once tried to hit me with her car.
I got some good news. Nina Turner. Nina Turner's running.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Those are all my people running her campaign. Amy Villela, who's been on my show, and Keenan Korth, who's been on my show. The Victoria, my daughter, volunteered. She interned for Amy Villela.
Oh, cool. Yeah. Well, if it's an Opperman candidate, I'm all in.
There you go.
So what else? Tell me what else we need to know. I mean, give me we haven't spoken in a while. What's the Opperman update just in the world, in the nation now?
Tomorrow I'm talking to Kristen Spearman, who is the paralegal that's hooked up with Jacob Wall and Jack Berkman.
Yeah. What's up with those guys?
What's up with those guys? Yeah. Haven't heard from them in a minute.
Well, I tell you, I wish I could tell you everything I know with those bunch. I got some really good juices. You know, they got arrested, you know, for doing those robocalls, right?
Yeah, but those guys get arrested every few. I mean, those guys, seriously, it's like they have like 8 strikes against them at this point. I mean, they're in and out of jail more than anybody I know, and I know some guys who are. And so what like, how do these guys just keep getting sprung? Who gives them money? Because if I feel like, you know, you got to do the whole like Veritas route where, you know, you surreptitiously record somebody in a one-party record state, you know, put it out, maybe edit it a little bit. But these guys, I mean, every single one of their operations ends with them very publicly and humiliatingly getting arrested, which doesn't seem like a success to me.
I think they just like the attention and the publicity. And then there's clients out there that say, well, look at these people. They're getting this stuff done. They're fixers and operators. And they do have clients, man. They have clients. I'm hearing they have like stacks of cash around their house, like a Colombian coke dealers from the 70s and the 80s. You know? So I have her coming on tomorrow. Birkenfeld is a good show. That's in the Patreon. Oh, I got, you know, the old OJ shows with T.H. Johnson. Remember that?
Yeah.
Look at this, man. T.H. Johnson, oh man, he's got some great. He did a documentary film about how there had to be 2 killers at OJ's place there, because there were 2 different knives. Yeah, there were 2 different knives. So he's got some good stuff there. But he's got this whole new thing. He listened to my show with Robert Whitehurst, who was the FBI whistleblower, right? Mm-hmm. And he contacted Robert Whitehurst, and they became friends and started talking to each other and cooperating with each other. Robert Whitehurst gave him 50 pounds of documents.
He measured it by the pound?
I have a picture of it. It's huge. Okay. Jeez. It's a huge giant thing. All stuff with FBI corruption, all kinds. You know, Robert Whitehurst was ready to testify at the OJ trial that the EDTA was enough to kill somebody if there was that percentage of EDTA in the blood. And Robert Whitehurst is a legit guy if you look him up.
Wait a second. So wait, can you walk us through the 2-knife theory? So there were 2 knives. That's so funny. It's so funny you bring this up because I am currently rewatching the Made in America doc, the OJ like 5-part one that ESPN did or whatever.
Forget that. Throw it away. Get Serpents Rising by T.H. Johnson. It's a film.
I will. Yeah. But wait, so what's the two? There were two knives?
In the preliminary hearing, the medical examiner who actually did the autopsy testified that there were two different knives. One had a flat edge and the other was like a dagger with sharp at both edges. And that there were likely two killers stabbing these knives in and out in different manners. Okay, so, and he testified that. At the trial, the guy was nowhere to be found. They didn't bring him in. They brought in the head of the department who did not perform the autopsy. And he didn't mention anything like this at all about the knives, the two knives, or the two killers. How do you like that?
Who do you think was the other guy? I have an idea.
Jeffrey Felix, who wrote the book Guarding the Juice. He was OJ's prison guard in prison, right? Now, he wrote a book with a friend of mine from Vegas.
He wrote a book about being OJ's prison guard?
Yeah.
Jesus,
and OJ
I can't finish
him,
my novel? God.
Along with Corey Levitan, who's a great guy too as well, who was a co-writer in the book. You like him. Now, OJ told him, he says, oh man, these drug dealers came to my door to pay off Nicole's debt. And I says, you know what? This time I'm not going to pay it. So they left and they started heading up to Nicole's place. He ran over there, followed him. The stabbing was already going on. He ran around in the blood and he took off and came back home. And cowardly didn't do anything and didn't report it and stuff like that, which is why he can't tell what really happened.
Jesus. Oh yeah, because then it's he's basically accessory at that point, right?
I'll tell you something else. Remember when OJ at the parole hearing, right? And he mentioned the prison guard, Jeffrey Felix, and he says, "And this guy, we're going to sue this guy. He wrote this book, and we're going to sue him. He made it all up." I called Jeffrey Felix that day, right? And I says, "Hey man, what's going on?" Jeffrey Felix was already. He had appointments with CNN. That was all an inside job. OJ's getting a piece of that book. They had an inside deal.
OJ's man, that's the king, man. He's so smooth on that shit. It's so crazy. He knows how to turn it on, man. He's a fucking pro.
I mean, here's the thing, Ed. Even if somebody is an evil son of a bitch, if they are good at what they do, a part of me is forced to respect it.
I hear you, man. Yeah. I hear you.
You know, I can't help it. I mean, these guys, there's a lot of guys who do that kind of stuff, who fuck it up, and then, they go to prison. We never hear from them again. But these guys that kind of keep coming up and coming up and coming up, I mean, there's something to them. I'm not saying it's a good thing, but there's something there.
100%. I had on Dan O'Hanks on the show too, who was behind that whole thing with the OJ porn.
No, I don't know. So I'm actually, I do. My only connection to OJ is I know a girl whose family was very good friends with OJ, and she was, yes. I can tell you more about it after the show, but
my best friend's dad was one of Ron Goldman's lawyers, so I know.
Oh wow, yeah.
He's the one who got the If I Did It. Yeah. He got the advance to go to the Goldmans and like the proceeds or whatever.
It's from the civil case, right?
Or whatever.
Yeah. But it's Christ, I can't remember what I was saying. But I don't know that much about OJ. Is really what it like. It's always been sort of like, well, he probably did it, and I'm sure some other crazy stuff happened. But I've never really gotten too into it, and it seems like it's more multifaceted than I could have really understood. I believe from my limited sort of engagement with it.
You know what you would really be into? The Furman tapes. There's hours and hours and hours of Furman confessing to these crimes, these LAPD crimes, kicking in people's doors. Mm-hmm. And just confessing to it, man. And everybody says, "Oh, it's all about the N-word. It's all about the N-word." This guy's confessing to one crime after another. That you can track down the facts and the details and see where it was.
And it's comical level. Like Dave Chappelle always had that bit, from one of his early specials where he's talking about cops just sprinkling crack on dead bodies or whatever.
I mean, maybe you should have seen something a little suspicious. Don't you think it was a little suspicious? Just a little suspicious. Every dead black person the police find has crack sprinkled on them. I mean, come on, man.
It's that level, egregious what Furman was doing with the LAPD. And he's one of many, obviously, but it's so funny too because we're watching the documentary, and Jeffrey Toobin is a big part because he got famous or he got really big writing that piece in the New Yorker, breaking the Furman stuff. And it's because he comes on and immediately I'm like, holy shit, I forgot he just got
Just got
screwed.
shit canned for masturbating.
Yeah, yeah, so crazy how the mighty have fallen.
Yeah, I mean, boy, what a blooper. I'm hoping that it's as somebody whose job takes him to these video conferences quite often, I take pains to never let myself be tubed.
No.
It's almost like Harvey Keitel.
Yeah,
Yeah, totally.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Ed, it has been a pleasure having you on. I cannot tell you how delightful this has been. We gotta do this again.
Now, let me tell you something, man. I really, really enjoyed this. And
Always.
I've been exhausted, man. I've been having a really rough week. I'm in court. I'm getting evicted. I got all this stuff going on, man. I'm a mess over here, man, And it was I really enjoyed this. I really had a lot of fun. I thank you very much.
And you're still doing the show 4 nights a week.
Yes, I'm on Monday to Friday. No, 5 nights a week. 5 nights a week. In fact, I'm doing a show tonight. I'm doing a live show tonight.
No, yeah, in a second, right?
And a couple by 8 o'clock, yeah, I'll pour myself some scotch and I used to go potato juice, but I'm more vodka than I drink.
Well, I mean, listen, if you're a private detective, I think it's okay. You have a little tipple when you record.
I'm going to be talking about to Rebecca Jones and how they're going. The woman with the COVID website, and they raided her house down here in Florida.
Yeah.
This is such a crazy case.
Let me tell you something, man. Okay, they didn't take her router. They didn't take her modem. They took her computers, her cell phones, her thumb drives. Nothing involving access to a mail server. Okay, they're not even looking for that. They're looking for what other dirt they can dig up on her. And did you know that she was arrested earlier this year for cyber stalking an ex-boyfriend over a paternity case? Yeah, nobody knows about this. I know all about it. Let me tell you something, man. I work these kind of cases trying to get people busted for cyber stalk. I got a case exactly the same thing in California right now. This woman's being revenge porn, right? Cops won't do a damn thing. They went after this woman, Rebecca Jones, and arrested her. They dropped the case. They dropped the charges. The DA didn't touch this. The judge didn't touch this. But they went after her back then. They took her computer, the laptop, the whole same thing, and put her in jail. They locked her up.
I mean, that's I saw that. I saw that her house got raided by these cops with the guns out, like pulling them around. I mean, unholstered. That's pretty wild.
For people who don't know, by the way, this is a woman who she's basically come out as kind of a whistleblower of the Florida government, the state government, for basically like telling her to fake COVID numbers in order to let the state reopen and not have to close down businesses based on the kind of case numbers and death numbers they were seeing. It's a very weird case that's happening.
Yeah. And like a total like classic kick in the door house raid.
Yeah.
Ed, I re-listened to your interview with E. Howard Hunt's son the other day.
I like that one, huh?
I love that one, and I've become obsessed with his mother's plane crash.
Oh yeah, well, no one knows about that either, man. Dorothy Hunt.
Yeah.
Mysterious. But when there was a bag money being delivered too.
Exactly. $10,000 in her purse. I mean, my God, it's to go invest in a couple of Holiday Inns, which is.
Well, some people. She was CIA too,
Oh, of course. That's what I'm saying. Is a lot of the times it seems like you got the dad in, and then the wife does a little work on the side, and then the son's all in.
Well, E. Howard Hunt, he's working for Roger Stone now. You know that, right?
I did not know that.
Oh
yeah.
God.
Wait, what?
I know, man. I know. Here's what happened. I'll tell you real quick because I can see we're running out of time.
Yeah.
Okay. What happened? When he came on the show, he was parking cars. E. Howard Hunt, St. John Hunt, was parking cars for a living. So he went to one of these JFK conferences, and who gets a hold of him was Roger Stone. Jeez. And Roger Stone tells him, "Hey, man, you're a legend. You're a legend. I want you to come work for me. You wrote a great book. You're going to be my ghostwriter. Write all my books for me."
This
Put
guy,
him on the payroll.
Roger Stone, man.
Yeah.
We got to get St. John Hunt at the TrueAnon Ultra JFK conference.
Oh yeah, definitely, man. Yeah.
Well, Ed, it has been a pleasure. Where can people check you out?
Opperman Report on Patreon is one. Okay, well, I told you the Birkenfeld show is in there, the Samantha Spiegel show is in there, and the raw audio. Everything we're talking about tonight is in there. You can find it.
Ed, I will say, as a loyal Patreon subscriber to Ed, Ed Opperman has probably done more shows than any human being in history, except for the big guys of radio. I mean, my God, there's a lot of content in there.
Yeah, and the audience should know too that Brace has really been a big help, helping me set up the Patreon to begin with, and Liz too, you're so gracious, and thank you so much for. I know you're gritting your teeth every time I pop my peas over here, but I'm doing the best I can, man. Okay, I'm doing the best I can. But but Brace put together a team of guys for me to help me put the Patreon up and stuff like that. And I can't thank you enough, my friend. And really, God bless it. These guys are the real deal. These
Oh yeah, we got
TrueAnon folks.
Marlon and Tom from You Can't
Right.
Win helping out. Yeah.
Nice.
Well, anyways, Ed, it has been a pleasure. We will link all that shit down below. I don't know why I'm pointing because that is just going to be something I type up in a few days when we put this episode up. But you know what I mean. It has been a pleasure. We got to do this again.
Thank you.
Liz, I want to be a PI so bad.
I think you should do it.
I
I
could do it.
support you.
You know what? Because I was looking at classes at City College to take it a couple of years ago, and my one, I was like, I can't drive. That's a.
Oh, do you have to know how to drive?
I mean, I kind of just thought about it. I'd be like, I'd probably have to drive around.
Well, here's the thing. You don't have to drive to take the classes. You could take the classes and get the license and then learn how to drive.
Yeah, I guess that's fair enough. Yeah. It
think
just
you
seemed
should
like a
do
lot
it.
of work. I just want to be able to carry a gun legally.
I think 2021. That's next year, right? What year is it?
2020.
Okay, 2021 is the year that Brace goes back to college.
Well, here's the thing: is you think about it. What would I do as a PI? I would get information on people. I would participate in lawsuits. I'd stake them out. I'd do some stakeums. I would stalk them, and I
Stakeums
would
and
surveil
stalkums.
them. Yeah, I didn't even mean to say stakeums there. It's our sponsor, Stakeums. But why do you need a license for any of that stuff? Girls do that stuff all the time.
Yeah, you're taking the libertarian, no occupational licensing.
Well, I'm sorry. If I need a license to tape, videotape the outside of a hotel room, women should need a license to go back into your tagged photos on Instagram and find other people tagged in them.
They should, actually. That's a good point. The reason why I want you to actually go is because I think you could learn some really cool tricks.
Oh, absolutely. Bugging?
Yeah, but also think how much better you'll be at Google searching.
Oh my God. Well, I use DuckDuckGo.
Well, that's your first problem.
It's funny. I take these like half-ass measures to be like, I should not be surveilled so much. But I'm like, the government can just look at my computer screen. And
Here's
so,
my thing. You got to push through it. They're going to surveil you. Okay, so what? Let's keep it moving, people.
Exactly. Well, it's just like, here's the thing. If you're going to do anything remotely illegal, just don't do it on or near a computer. There's no other... people kind of come up with, VPN and
Yeah, it's all
using
fake
passwords.
news. It's all fake.
I don't use a password. I don't use a VPN. And I use voice recognition Alexa and have it projected onto my wall, which you can see from the street.
Yeah, full transparency. That's the TrueAnon guarantee.
Absolutely. My name is Hunter Biden.
I'm Liz.
And my name is Brace Belden. We are joined by producer Young Chomsky and MD Keith Ablow. And the podcast is called TrueAnon.
We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Jeffrey Epstein.